Jalen Duren and the Detroit Pistons dominate the Toronto Raptors in what will be, and I don't think anyone could have seen this coming, their 55th win of the season.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Khahil, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. During the tournament, FanDuel is offering $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. Head to FanDuel.com to get started today. Later on, I want to reflect on this season a little bit because what we're about to talk about, you guys will understand why. There's some milestones that were hit this year. And I feel like after hitting some of these milestones that have taken quite a long time for the Pistons to get to, I just want to reflect on the season. I know the season's not over, but I feel like this is a good time to, when they set some of these milestones, to be able to sit back and just look back at how this season and really how the past seasons, how the Pistons got here. We'll talk about also later on how the Pistons' depth jumps off the screen in this game against the Toronto Raptors. But we are going to start with Jalen Duren and how he led the Pistons to dominating the Toronto Raptors. They win this game 127-116. The Pistons were dominating them basically this entire game. Now, Toronto went to their second unit and benched all their starters with like 6-7 minutes left. And then those guys went on a 12-0 run and ended up cutting the lead to 10. But then after that, the Pistons locked back in and extended it back up to like 15-16. And I don't feel like it ever felt like they were actually going to come back and make it a game for real. It was the bench unit. The Pistons kind of let their foot off the gas and then locked back in once their guys tried to make a run. But for the majority of this game, I don't think the Pistons were ever in any danger, and I feel like they were in firm control of this game from the get-go. And speaking of from the get-go, that is led by Jalen Duren. In the first quarter of this game, I'm pretty sure Jalen Duren had their first 5 baskets made. He had 11 points in this first quarter. He was 5 of 5. And again, like I said, I think he made their first 5 buckets and was just dominated the Toronto Raptors. He was too strong for them, overpowering them. Clever finishes around the basket. Some really tough little floaters off of driving, hit the bump, and then fade off and hit a floater. Those were some really tough shots. He hit that probably a few times tonight. And he ended the game with 31 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. And listen to this, man. It's getting pretty ridiculous on how efficient he is. This is unreal. 31 points on 12 of 13 shooting. He just doesn't miss shots, man. Like this is crazy. The efficiency in which he's scoring. Just go over it. Let's just go since let's just pick the Memphis game. Let's go since his last 10 games. He is scoring over the last 10 games 25 points a game on 76.5 true shooting. That is unreal. He's shooting 71% on twos during this stretch. He's drawing 8.5 free throws a game, shooting 82% on these. It's absolutely unreal how efficient of a scorer he has been since really the All-Star break. Now, he's been efficient all season, but somehow he has just taken another step since the All-Star break. And like, it feels like that as a defense, like you just take a victory when you force him to miss 4 shots. Like if he just shoots 55% from the floor instead of 80%, you're like, oh God, okay, we did our job. Or even like if he shoots 60% instead of 80%, you're like, okay, I guess we did our best job. Like this is unheard of. This is crazy efficiency. This is like Giannis type of stuff over the last 10 games. 25 on 76 true shoot. I mean, that's crazy, man. On the season now, he's up to 19.5 points on 68.6 true shooting. So he's very nearly at 70% true shooting on the season. He's shooting 75% from the free throw line this year. He's averaging 6.1 attempts. He's a heavy free throw shooter, heavy volume free throw shooter. Teams can't really stop him without fouling, and he's been pretty consistently. There was a time where he started to dip a little bit as a free throw shooter. I believe like last month, a month and a half ago, he had a stretch when he was really struggling. But outside of that, really, for the first 30-some-odd games, and then the last 15-ish games, he's just been a flat-out really good free throw shooter, which just makes it incredibly hard to find a way to stop him. Because if he's able to kill you on lobs, he's able to kill you on putbacks, he's able to kill you on dump-offs, and then he's also able to kill you as a dribble drive guy. He's able to kill you as a self-creator. He's able to kill you in the post. And then you foul him, and he still gets 2 points at the line anyways because he's a good free throw shooter. It's just, I don't know how, outside of just sending multiple bodies at him and trying to get him to turn the ball over, teams just have not been able to have an answer for him. I thought, obviously, Minnesota did the best job of anyone we've seen as of late. And they have Rudy Gobert, who's one of the best defenders, one of the best big defenders, like, of NBA history. And he's actually having an incredible season this year. Rudy has, I would say this is probably Rudy's best season in, like, I don't think he was bad last year, but I think this is, like, his best season, I would say, in, like, 3 years. He's been really good this year. So he wasn't as effective against Rudy, but the Pistons won. And, again, it's Rudy Gobert. So I'm not going to I'm not going to, take too much from that. But overall, with this larger sustained sample size, I mean, since Cade Cunningham went down, we spoke about on the podcast that I thought there was 2 players that had to step up. I said Jalen Duren and Ausar Thompson. Ausar Thompson has not done that offensively. I think he's been really good defensively. I think he's been, the same Ausar, but he has not stepped up offensively in Cade's absence. You want to know who absolutely has stepped up in Cade's absence offensively? And for a lot of people that talked about, he's somewhat of a Cade merchant, that Cade makes him this efficient, Cade makes him this good of a scorer, Jalen Duren's basically saying, nah, that ain't true. That ain't true. Cade does help me. Cade does make me better. And with Cade, obviously, we're a much better team. Obviously. But if Cade's not around, I'm still able to do stuff. I'm still able to come out here and hoop. In the 8 games since Cade got hurt, he is averaging 25 points, 10.8 rebounds, 3 assists a game. He's shooting 70% on twos, 88% on free throws, on 8.5 attempts a game, and on 77 true shooting. That's incredible. That's all NBA numbers. And I'm not going to be shocked if he ends up making an all-NBA team this year. Quickly on that, I think eventually in the next collective bargaining agreement, they need to come up with some kind of rule to where the team that drafted the player, if they get all-NBA, they get paid more. They do get the Supermax contract, but the amount that they gain from making the all-NBA shouldn't be penalized to the team. I don't understand why the Pistons are going to get quote-unquote penalized because Jalen Duren makes all-NBA team. I don't like that rule, or I don't like that. I think they should adjust it a bit. But nonetheless, Jalen Duren is making a very, very strong late season push. Now, he had played well all year, so he was an all-star this year. It wasn't like he just all of a sudden became good. But I didn't think he was going to make All-NBA at All-Star Weekend. I thought he was an All-Star. I thought he was a guy that you thought, okay, he's having a really good season. He's a deserved All-Star. But I did not think he was an All-NBA guy at the All-Star break. I thought I had a few other guys ahead of him. Since All-Star break, though, he has made a very, very strong surge to try to grab one of those All-NBA third-team spots. And I don't know if I'd say he's a favorite to do that. There are a lot of candidates and a lot of people there's a lot of players that are really good this year and are going to be deserving of consideration for the spot. So I wouldn't say he's a favorite, but he's certainly forcing himself into that conversation to where if he does end up on the All-NBA third team, I will not be shocked. What he's done since Cade went down has absolutely elevated this Pistons team. He's absolutely kept them afloat. They're 7-1. Their one loss was a game, or they're 7-1 in the games he played. They're actually 7-2 overall, because they lost to OKC and he didn't play against OKC. The one loss that they have when he played was an overtime loss against Atlanta. So he's done his job, man. He's been incredible. He's been absolutely incredible. And for all the people that said the Pistons wouldn't win more than 2 or 3 games without Cade, I mean, Jalen Duren scoring, it's not just been him. I mean, other players have contributed. But how much he stepped up at the score in Cade's absence has absolutely been huge. It's been fantastic. It's incredible to see. He's playing tremendous basketball. Coming up, I do want to talk about all the other players for the Pistons that played well in this game. And at this point in the season, it's almost like whack-a-mole. Like, you talk about one guy, look how much they might want to deserve minutes. And then you hit another guy and another person and another person. And it's just, every other night it seems like someone steps up and plays well. And it speaks to how deep this team is, and speaks to how they got to 55 wins on the season this early. We'll break it down and talk about it coming up. Spring is a natural reset point. If there's one thing that can quietly cost business money is messy communication, missed calls, scattered texts, and no clear thread of who said what. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2 with over 3,000 reviews, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses. It lets your entire team share one business number so you never miss a call, text, or opportunity. Everything lives on one clean thread: calls, texts, voicemails. The whole team sees the conversation so nothing falls through the cracks. It just makes your business feel more organized and responsive. Make this the season. No opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers with Quo. Now I've got to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors. This one is Robinhood. What are sports? We're traded like markets. Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Trade every play with Robinhood. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free to web on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. I do want to thank you guys for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. We appreciate all of your guys' support for all these years. I also want let you guys know about the Everydayer Club if you want to join Locked On Pistons Discord server, or if you also want to get Locked On Pistons ad-free listens compatible with any podcast app. You can click the link down below in the description to join the Everydayer Club today. But later on, like I said, I do want to reflect on the season and just talk about some of the milestones, my goodness, if I could speak, that the Pistons did hit with this win. It's not the biggest deal in the world, I guess. It's not, they didn't win the championship or anything. But I think it's worth talking about. But before we get to that, there were some other players that really performed well in this game against Toronto. And it just speaks to a larger point overall for the Detroit Pistons, that this is a team that is deep in a way that most people didn't expect them to be deep. You look at this roster on paper before the year. You look at this roster, if you're someone who wasn't a Pistons, heck, even Pistons fans, I think. But if you want to say people outside Detroit, you do not look at this roster on paper before the year and be like, oh, yeah, that's a team that could go 11 deep. That's a super deep team. They're going to have a hard time figuring out who should play. And multiple times this year, we found the Pistons struggling with that, trying to figure out who should play and who should not play. There was a brief stretch, I think, right before the All-Star break and right after the All-Star break, when it felt like, okay, maybe their guys were struggling a little bit and went from playing too many guys to struggling to find 8 guys that could consistently contribute. But everyone goes through ups and downs, and for the majority of the season, for the vast majority of this season, the Pistons have gotten production from 11 guys on the year. I mean, at least 10. I would say 11 guys on the year, randomly all stepping up at different points in the season. And recently we've talked about Kevin Huerter over the last few games and talked about how well he played and how good he's looked. He didn't light it up tonight, but the reason why I bring up Huerter, I was about to say turnovers because he had 4 turnovers in this game. The reason why I bring up Huerter, despite him not having the greatest game, is because the last 3 games, last 5 games, he was uber impressive. And he was playing extremely well. And Duncan Robinson comes back. He gets his minutes. And guess what happens? Now Duncan Robinson has a fantastic game. He had 19 points on 6 of 9 shooting. He was 5 of 8 from beyond the arc, with some really nice passes out there as well. So Kevin Huerter steps up. Now Duncan Robinson steps up. Paul Reed, he has another good game. 10 points, 5 assists on 5 of 6 shooting. Guess who comes back? Tobias. Now Tobias contributes. He has a really good game. He has 12.6 assists, 5 rebounds on 4 of 9 shooting on the game. Karis LeVert. Listen, he has not had a good season, and he has been pretty bad for the majority of the season. However, he probably just had his best game of 2026 in this game. 12 points and 5 of 7 shooting. Was very efficient in this game. Didn't turn the ball over as much. Well, I thought was active on the defensive end of the floor. So now he steps up in this game as well. Daniel Shankins, he has 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on 5 of 9 shooting. So he had a very efficient game. We already talked about Jalen Duren. Now we're at 8 guys. Ausar Thompson, I thought played an uneven game. I didn't think he was very good in the first half. I thought in the third quarter he was very good. And then the fourth quarter he was just like he was okay. He was out there. But even an uneven game for Ausar leads to the Pistons being at their best when he was on the floor. He was a plus 15 in this game. He had 5 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists to go along with 2 steals. And again, I didn't think this was the greatest game from Ausar, but still he impacted the game and still he contributed to the game. So now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that we've named that contributed to this win. And we haven't talked about Marcus Ausar, who in 7 minutes of action was able to hit 8 or score 8 points and hit 2 threes in this game before he ended up leaving due to his hip bothering him again, which really sucks for him because this has been an opportunity for him to play, and now he's dealing with another hip injury. I'm assuming it's the same side that that's been bothering him all season, really. So I feel bad for him. That's tough. But like my overall point is all of these guys stepped up in this game. And all season long, we've just been seeing these guys step up at random points and play well. To where if they're missing Cade, they don't miss a beat. They have a really good record without Cade. When Duren is out, they have a really good record without Duren. They don't miss a beat. Stu's out. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the fact that Stu, once he joins back, he'll be in this list. Like, they've won without Stu. They've won without Duren. They've won without Cade. They've won without Ausar earlier in the year. They've won without Duncan. They've won without Tobias. They have, no matter who's missing in a game, and no matter who struggles in a specific game, for the vast majority of this season, it's just next man up, and someone else steps up and plays really well for the Detroit Pistons. It's what's helped them get to the point that they're at this year. It's what's helped them have such a great season, and it's part of what helped them really control this game against the Toronto Raptors. I mean, the Raptors starters, I felt like, got outplayed by the Pistons bench. Scotty Barnes, I did not have a good game in this one. Brandon Ingram, he had 22 points, but it felt like he had to work on every single shot, work extremely hard on every single shot he took. And if it wasn't for a late fourth quarter push when the Pistons looked like they let their foot off the gas and the Raptors had brought in an all bench lineup to just close the game out, if it wasn't for that, the score would look even worse. The how much the Pistons overall from starters to bench outplayed Toronto, it would look way, way worse. So it's not just Duren who leads the Pistons to victories. It's not just Cade when he's healthy, even though obviously Cade's the biggest component in all this. It's not just Ausar. It's not, it's not just any one person. The Pistons are a great team because they have 8+ guys on any given night that can come out and give you a great game. I mean, last game, Javonte Green hit 5 threes. This game he played 5 minutes and didn't score. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, he goes from one game starting and looking like clay to the next game he barely plays, and there's no whining about it. There's no complaining about it. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's not my night this night. Duncan's back. Huerter's playing well. Yeah, let them play. And then they play well. And then guess what? If Huerter were to go down, or if Duncan were to, or if any of these guys were to go down or miss a game, Javonte will come right back into the rotation. He'll play 20+ minutes, and guess what? He'll probably play really well. Like, that's just... It's very fun to watch the Pistons play because of how deep they are. It is something unique. I think what you're seeing in the NBA lately is a lot of franchises and a lot of teams moving towards this formula of, obviously every team would love to be deep with a lot of talent. But I feel like there's more emphasis lately from teams like OKC and Detroit. There's a few other teams as well that I can't think of right now. But there's a few teams, handful of teams that have really committed to, we are just going to be super aggressive, super physical, go all out all game. Indiana was the other one last year. That we're going to be physical, hyper aggressive, and all out all game. And because of that, we're going to have a deeper team because guys are going to get tired. And we're going to trust all the guys we play. And because all of the guys we play, we trust and play well, it's going to be a living hell for opposing teams for 48 minutes. And the Pistons have done that all year this year, and they did that in this game against Toronto. It's one of the bigger reasons why they have 55 wins on the season. But coming up, I want to talk about some of the milestones, including what that 55 win game marker, I should say, means for the Pistons, why I think it's a pretty big deal for Detroit, and along with the Pistons securing something else that they haven't done in a very, very, very long time. We'll talk about it and just reflect on the season coming up. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. You can pull up the Game Time app, pick an upcoming NBA game, and you'll have tickets locked within minutes. You can see all-in prices up front, no surprise fees at checkout. They got zone deals that will stand out. Choose a section, Game Time picks the seats, and you'll save. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free. From start to finish, take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today, and remember, it's gametime.co, not .com, and make sure you use code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, at Game Time for $20 off your first purchase, again, with Game Time. Now, I've got to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors. This one is FanDuel. The tournament is here and one of the best times of the year. Brackets, buzzer beaters, upsets. It's nonstop action from tip to final cutdown. What about that Duke loss? I mean, that was absolutely insane. I'm not even a college basketball fan like that, but that was insane. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a way to stay in the action all tournament long. And here's the best part. You get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. That means 10 chances to stay involved throughout the entire tournament. You can mix it up however you want, game picks, futures, or even the same game parlays for bigger potential payouts. It's perfect for the tournament because every day there's something new, different matchups, new storylines, and more ways to get involved as the bracket unfolds. So visit FanDuel.com to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com to get in on the action again with FanDuel. So I want to thank you guys again to make Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. I do want to let you guys know we will probably do this again when the regular season wraps up. We'll obviously talk about the upcoming playoffs. We'll preview the playoffs. That will be the very main focus. But after the final game of the season, we very likely will do another reflection on the season. Once the record is officially set, we probably will look back at the year again. But I think it's worthy to do it now also because the Pistons just won their 55th game. They have a chance to win 60 games. They'd have to go 5-1 down the stretch. But they just hit 55 games. That is the most games that they have won in a season since 2007, 2008. That is, and this is really making me feel old as dirt saying this, that is 18 years ago. 18 years ago. A full childhood's life. From 1 to 18 before you become an adult. It's been 18 years. Someone was born in 2008 and had to wait until they became an adult to see the Pistons win 50 games. It's a very long time. And if the Detroit Pistons were able to get to 60 wins, if they were to be able to win 5 of their last 6 games, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Their final 6 games of the season, I know they got Minnesota. They got Philly, who's playing well and got everyone back. Orlando, Milwaukee should be easy, but then they got Charlotte and Indiana. Indiana's an easy one too. So there's 2 easy ones you would say, but Minnesota won't be super. I would guess it probably won't be too easy. They could definitely lose to Minnesota, but they just beat Minnesota by almost 20, so they should be able to beat Minnesota. But nonetheless, my point is they're not a gimme game. Philly, I think, is going to be tough. They can beat Philly for sure. None of these teams they can't beat. But 4 of these games against teams that are pretty good. I mean, Charlotte, I think is really good. Philly, I think, could be really good. Minnesota's good. Orlando is Orlando. So, I mean, maybe that could be a super easy game or a somewhat difficult game. You never know with Orlando. My overall point is, if they were able to go 5-1 down the stretch, they would hit 60 wins. And that would be the first time they've won 60 games since the 2005-2006 season, which would then be 20 years since they've won 60 games. To add on to this, I think if you just put those 2 and 2 together, you probably will realize this as well, that the Pistons just won more games in the season than they did in the 2004 season where they won the NBA championship. To add on to that, something else happened tonight by the Pistons winning their 55th game. They have clinched the Central Division with 6 games to go in the season. And this is the first time that they've won the Central Division, again, since 2007, 2008, which again was 18 years ago. They have not won a Central Division title. They have not won 50 games since then. Last year was the first year they had won a singular playoff game since that same season. It's very surreal when you sit back and think about where the Pistons are at this year, and you truly think about what they had been through the last few years. It is absolutely insane that the Pistons are here right now. Like, it's unbelievable. It's stuff you write in fairy tales that the Pistons are where they're at right now. This is not something you see. This is unheard of. 2 years ago, not 4 years ago, not 5 years, 2 seasons ago, they had the worst season in franchise history. 2 seasons ago, I was being called by overseas radio stations to ask, how is it even possible to lose 28 games? 2 years ago, people were questioning if Cade is even ever going to be an all-star level player, let alone a franchise player. There were people questioning that. There were people wanting the Pistons to just blow it up and start all over again and go into another rebuild. Trade all the young players. Start all over again. This one didn't go well. You messed up. Now it's time to start over again. That's where the Pistons were at 2 years ago. And since then, the immediate season following that, they go from the worst team in the NBA to a playoff team, not a play-in team, a playoff team, and win multiple playoff games on the road. That's 1 season after that. That already is absolutely unheard of. Just an absurd turnaround in 1 offseason without making any major moves. The only times we've seen that is when teams make major moves in the offseason, like Boston back in 2008. So they did that in 1 offseason. Then this past offseason, many people said the Pistons lost the offseason. Many people gave them bad grades for the offseason. Many fans were concerned about the offseason. I was critical of the offseason at the time. I believe my exact criticism at the time was, I understand why they're doing it. They're relying on the young guys taking another step, but they didn't really add much. They lost a guy who really contributed to what they were doing in Malik Beasley. I wasn't a fan of the Karras signing. I think that's played out how I was worried that it would play out. But I basically, in the offseason, I believe my exact stance was, they're relying on the young guys, but they haven't really done much, and I don't know if that's going to work out. And I feel like a lot of people were echoing those same things. And then to come into this season, again, 1 season removed from worst team in the NBA, one of the worst teams we've ever seen in the NBA, and an offseason that people question whether you did enough at all, and a lot of people predicting the over-under wasn't high for the Pistons. I believe it was 42.5, 43.5. Over-under wasn't high. People had the Pistons finishing. Some people had the Pistons finishing in the play-in. And to go from that to overwhelming favorites in a month ago, heck, a month and a half ago, they were overwhelming favorites to be the best team in the East, to finish with the 1 seed. They basically haven't officially wrapped it up, but they officially have wrapped it up 6 games left into the season. They've won 55 games. They might win 60. it's an unreal story that I am not joking. If the Pistons were to make the finals, and we're all hoping that they make the finals at some point during the Cade era. We're all hoping they win a championship during the Cade era. But let the Pistons just make the finals. We all want a championship, but just let them make the finals during this era. And I think a 30 for 30 will be made about the Pistons, about this era of the Pistons. Because of how unheard of it is for a team to go from one of the worst teams we've ever seen. And within 2 years, you have 2 playoff appearances. You have multiple on-the-road playoff wins. And then you immediately take over the conference. And not from the conference being weak and you winning with like 51, 52 games. They might win 60. And they're 8. What are they without Cade in these last? They're 7-2. I mean, it's a crazy, crazy, crazy season. And the turnaround the Pistons have had to get to this point so quickly, you just don't see that happen. It's a storybook. It feels like a Disney movie. It feels like a Pixar movie for real that we're watching happen here. So trust me, we care about winning. We're not taking a victory lap and saying the playoffs don't matter. We're already happy with this. If they lose in the first round, who cares? No, that's not what I'm saying. We all obviously will get right back to after this to talking about what they need to improve on, what are some weaknesses, their strengths, what they can impose on whoever their playoff opponent is. How can they win, how far they can go. Like, all of that stuff we will talk about because winning is what matters. We do want to see the Pistons go far in the playoffs. But just taking a moment in time to just sit back and reflect, it is absolutely insane that the Pistons are where they're at right now. And I think it's one of the best times. It is, not think. It is one of the best times there has been in the last 25 years to be a Pistons fan. And I think for those that witnessed the rebuild, forget just the 2010 seasons of just mediocrity. The rebuild from 2020 to now, there was some tough years you had to witness through. I mean, there are some bad years we had to watch. And I'll speak from my perspective. I'm not trying to boo-hoo, that's the word. I said boo-boo. Boo-hoo about what I had to do. But covering those seasons, my first season covering the team being the 2021 season, and then everything that happened, I mean, it was not fun at times. I'll tell you guys that. It was not fun. It was tough, and it was tough on fans. And to be able to go through all that and now witness all of this, I've said it numerous times, but it is surreal. It's crazy to say. It really does feel like a Disney movie. And happy for the players, happy for the teams, especially the players that witnessed through all this. Cade, Duren, Ausar, Stu, those guys went through all of this. They suffered through a lot of this. And to be out on the other side, happy for them. Absolutely happy for them. So let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. How do you guys feel about all of this? Have you guys sat back and just reflected on the last few years and how the Pistons got here? I know everyone's focused on the playoffs, rightfully so. But have you taken a chance to just reflect on where the Pistons have gotten? And how do you feel about that? Like I said, let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Stay safe out there, and peace out, everybody.